you guys, I thought I'd just stop in really quickly because coincidentally I just recorded a video about removing contingencies and how to check the appropriate boxes on that wonderful contingency removal form. And lo and behold, I have an agent calling me, writing an offer, yay, and she wanted to know about how to structure the time to remove those contingencies. So I thought this would be a good time to just pop in and kind of talk about this new grid in the purchase agreement. So a lot of you know with the last purchase agreement revision that they added a grid that has some itemized contingency lines, particularly for the buyer. Now, when you go to section L of the purchase agreement, this is where the buyer contingency grid begins. So in L1 and 2, this is for loan and appraisal. Now, these are the only two contingencies that can be removed within the purchase agreement. If you notice to the right of these boxes, there are check boxes for waivers. Now, if you do choose to waive them, you do not necessarily need to attach a contingency removal. The language is pretty clear. Does it hurt? No big deal, but it's not necessary because they are considered waived with those boxes being checked to the right. Now, as you scroll down, you will see L3. This is for buyer investigations. Now, investigations is inclusive of quite a few things, not only inspections, which is what most people refer to this as, but it is basically buyers' full investigation of the property. Are they satisfied with their knowledge thus far in regards to inspections, visiting the property, you know, looking around the neighborhood, all the things that consist of them making a decision. So that is what their investigation contingency is for. This is the one that is typically hinged to a request for repair as well. So kind of keep that into consideration. But you'll notice L3 in that it has its own line item. It is its own contingency. Now, this is where it differs from the old purchase agreement. We used to have an inspection contingency, which was inclusive of all the things, seller documents, any piece of paper that you received from the seller or escrow that was in relation to this property. It was all lumped together in an inspection contingency. These have now been separated. So as you go down, you'll look at L4. This is a specific contingency for review of seller documents. Now, these are the things that the seller is responsible for in delivery to the buyer. This does usually include disclosures like the TDS and the SPQ and the NHD report, those types of things that seller is responsible for. That is its own contingency, okay? Then down below, L5 is for review of the preliminary title report. This again has its own contingency line. You can shorten this, you can lengthen this, but again, just keep in mind that it is separate, okay? The next two down, L6 and L7, are particularly, usually like in my area, are for HOA docs, L6, and L7 would be something like solar, something that's leased or liened, maybe propane, that kind of thing. But the most important part of this is I want you guys to keep in mind that the contingencies are not tied together anymore. They can definitely be separated. Now, most of the time you can leave them at default 17 days. Maybe if you have disclosures early, perhaps you could reduce one of them down. If you got the prelim, maybe it was attached to MLS, maybe they can remove that contingency now. You know, but just take into consideration when you are removing contingencies that they are not lumped together. They have their own timelines, their own line items in the purchase agreement, which is partly why the contingency removal form was revised so that it could accommodate all the different contingencies being removed at a different time if that was more applicable. So I just thought I'd pop in here. If you have any questions about, you know, the buyer contingencies and things like that, you can check here for a video about the contingency removal that I'll be posting soon. Let me know if this was helpful. I get questions about this grid literally every day. A lot of people don't realize that it has since been changed, and some people are jumping back into the real estate game, and it is a huge shocker. So I just want to make sure that this is useful information. Please let me know if you have any questions. Again, if you have any questions in regards to a specific transaction or something that you're currently handling, please be sure to reach out to your broker and or office manager. And of course, you always have access to a qualified California real estate attorney in regards to those questions. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks again for stopping by. If you like little tips and tricks like this, please consider subscribing and becoming a part of the TC team. We'd love to have you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.